What's up, everybody? We are here, 5 o'clock, just about the end of the workday. You can see a couple of binders behind me. Maybe you can't see. I'll move. Binders behind me, prepping for trial here. So I'll be looking into those tonight. We had a trial deposition today. We watched our new associate get sworn in at the second DCA in Tampa. It's been a full day. It's been an interesting day. We have listened to a lot of the Brooks trial, which we'll break down tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. But right now, it is verdict watch, sentencing verdict watch for Nikolas Cruz, the Parkland shooting trial. Got a lot of questions about the closing arguments, the jury questions, what's going on, what do I think is going to happen, when do I think the verdict's going to come. So I'm here to react a little bit. I don't expect us to get a verdict tonight. But we're going to talk about the closing arguments, talk about what we think is going to happen. I want to get your opinion on what's going to happen. We can kind of hang out for a little bit together. I've got probably 30 minutes here to hang out with you all, answer as many questions as I can, a little update on the Parkland shooting trial, because I know a lot of you have been asking for that. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and like the video if you haven't already. That's free. But what's not free, and the people that do want to support the channel and the cause and help do more giveaways and have us do more cool stuff on the show. You can see there's also some like construction going on. We're putting some stuff up on the walls and stuff behind me. If you do want a paid option, Rosalie Honeycutt is a new member, and Kat Johnson, also a new member. So thank you all. We are going to do some members only chats coming up. If you do want to do that, it's in the description of the video. So let's get to it. And we're going to start by talking about the closing arguments. We will start with the states. The states is almost exactly what you would expect. They talk about the gruesome, cold, calculated, heinous, intentional, planned out manner in which Nikolas Cruz committed these heinous acts. And it was step by step. It wasn't particularly eloquent, in my opinion. I like for things to be presented a certain way, and I prepare really hard and take a lot of time, put a lot of pressure on myself for that. So that is something I nitpick sometimes, but I think you can still get the information out there perfectly well and understood by the jury in this case. And I think that he presented all the facts in a way that you cannot listen to this. You cannot think about this in any other way but that this was one of the most brutal acts anybody could commit. He states his reasons for it, and he has quotes about "you're going to know who I am," and his Instagram videos and the pictures that he drew, everything piled on about how horrible this event was. And then you had the defense attorney, who we've come to know in this case is pretty argumentative. It's always interesting when people tell me that, oh, my parents say I argue a lot, so it means I must be a good lawyer. It's like, not necessarily. Lawyers don't just argue to argue. Lawyers find leverage and understand how to argue in a way to get something accomplished. And there are different ways you can argue and present things. But the best thing is to argue without people even knowing you're arguing, right? And presenting your options in a persuasive way, not just somebody who's loud and yells a lot. And to me, the defense lawyer seemed like she was yelling at the jury a little bit, guilting the jury as if they're, doing something horrible if they come back with the death penalty, which their job is to make this decision. And I did not think her closing was super effective. But the best part of her closing, in my opinion, was when she went in on how that witness was nervous because they felt pressured by the state and very uncomfortable when the state reached out to them the day they were supposed to testify. And that prosecutorial misconduct type of conversation we heard throughout the trial, I really think that was the best part of her closing. It was very heavy on the medical testimony. And what I always think is interesting in situations like this is she's basically bashing her client for his benefit. I don't want to be rude about, how they describe Nikolas Cruz or people that deal with what he has dealt with in his life, but she basically said he's academically challenged, socially awkward, low IQ, has no real chance of making it as a normal human civilized person. He was sexually abused. He had family issues. People didn't love him. That's basically how she's describing him. And then they show his face. And I just think, how do you get here as a human being? How do you get here where you're in that seat and your own lawyer who's trying to help you is talking about you like this. Like, this is the best argument for you in the situation you're in. It's tough. And as she continued to go through the issues he had, they also panned to the crowd watching, and they are literally rolling their eyes. They're rolling their eyes like, yeah, right. That's why this happened. Tell me about the pictures. Tell me about the Instagram videos. What's up with that? And again, she was kind of, again, yelling at them. Somebody said they're coming back in the courtroom. Is that happening right now? We'll keep an eye on it here. And if something happens, let me know. And maybe that we will live stream what's happening in the courtroom. I've got it up here on another window, so I'll keep an eye on that. I'd be shocked if they had a verdict. Since we have a break here, Thelsky is a new member. Oh, Thelsick, sorry. Anna Marie Mitchell, thank you for the super sticker. And the death penalty is hard for me with this one, since per neuroscience, the brain is not fully developed until 25. Yes, and they made a lot of arguments to that effect. And I think the main mitigating circumstance that they are hitting on in this case, no doubt, is the mental capacity, low IQ, abuse. He had no chance. He deserves life, not death. He's not the worst of the worst in culpabilities. And so have mercy on him by giving him a life sentence, basically. So that's basically the main mitigating factor that they are arguing. But when we're looking at what's going to happen and what the outcome of this case is going to be, thank you, Rosie, for the super sticker as well. What's also interesting is looking at the aggravating factors. And when we see all the aggravating factors in black and white, the state attorney's closing argument, it hits even harder, basically. The first aggravating factor is simultaneous or prior convictions. And he explained how, because there are all these life felonies, because he also attacked ag bat on a prison guard, and he's got all these consecutive felonies, they count as the aggravating factor of prior life felonies or serious crimes. Another aggravating factor is knowingly create a known risk of death for many people. How do you argue against that? They really didn't. Heinous and cruel. That these acts were committed. Another one is during a burglary, which technically this was. You wouldn't necessarily think of it as a burglary, but technically this was a burglary. And then you have the aggravating factors I want to put up on the screen for us to look at together and just kind of see how it looks. How it looks in the jury room. So, we, the jury, unanimously find that the state established beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of the aggravating factor. The first-degree murder of Scott Beagle was especially, and they do this for each victim, but especially heinous, atrocious, and cruel. So do you think that based on the facts of this case, based on what the state recapped, do you think that it was especially heinous, atrocious, and cruel? The detail of how it was planned, how he went back when he wasn't finished, the pictures that he wrote, the plans that he made, the bell schedule, how long does it take for cops to show up to the scene? And then number 5, we, the jury, unanimously find that the state has established beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of the aggravating factor. The first-degree murder of Scott Beagle was committed in a cold, calculated, and premeditated manner without any pretense of moral or legal justification. We would like to see the AR-15. Ooh. Now, just to fill I don't know if you guys can hear this. I instructed them that the gun would be sent back, but it was inoperable. I'm going to try to share this screen here. I was informed by the sheriff's office that they do not want, for security reasons, even though it's inoperable, the firearm going back into the jury room. So I deferred
to the sheriff's office as they are in charge of security and those types of issues. So my suggestion would be, before I release the jurors for the evening, to bring them back in here, explain what I just explained.
We'll talk about this in a second.
Misspoke when I said I could send it back, and show them while they're in court the AR-15.
I would object to that. I think because they may want to examine it and talk about it themselves. So you can say why you have it done. You have to take the ammunition out of the room and bring the ammunition back.
Okay, so this is above my pay grade. If you would please do me a favor, and Mr. Satz and the lawyer from the defense, if you can speak with the sheriff's office, maybe there's another case where you know it's been done, and you can convince them to allow that.
But I can't say how many cases have done always.
Okay.
He's right.
Thank you. Do you want to, Mr. Satz, I'm not questioning you, but can you just give an example so they might know if somebody's, so that, okay.
He's right. And it's interesting that he objected to this, and we'll talk about why.
Okay, so let's check.
I've never had it with an AR-15, but I know a handgun goes back.
Well, let's see. Okay.
There are reasons. So hold on. We'll talk about this.
So in those instances, you send it. I've had many cases with a firearm. I just don't remember whether or not the firearm has gone back. Certainly, I trust that you've had cases where it does. But I guess my question. Okay. So,
can you tell who this is positive for based on the arguments of the lawyers?
That if they agree, I can send it back. I don't need to just send it back for a certain period of time and then have the sheriff's office take custody of it. It can stay in the jury room overnight?
Yeah.
That's your experience?
Right.
Okay.
And they say, well, we'd like to see the ammunition, then you can substitute the ammunition.
Okay.
It's going to go back, in my opinion. I think it's going to end up going back. Yeah, we'll answer all this. I just wanted to see if they're going to say anything else.
May I see two of the lawyers up at the bench, please? One from each side on this issue, please.
Interesting. All right. I hear people saying they can't hear it very well. I apologize. We weren't planning on, streaming anything at the same time. Yes, I will tell you what they said. I will tell you what's going on right now. So there was a jury question. They want to see the AR. And this is very common in a shooting case. A lot of prosecutors will even hold up the gun during closing argument. I really just listened to his, so I don't know if he did. But let's talk about why. A lot of you are like, why? That's a very weird request. Why would they want to see the gun? And I think KK hit it as part of it. To me, as a person without gun knowledge, the look and feel of a particular gun can imply a lot about a person's mindset and motive. I agree with you, KK. I think that is a great point. And again, what we were just looking at prior to sharing this video was the aggravating factors of the heinous and cruel nature of the crime. Does the type of gun make a difference to you? This is a question for you, everybody in the comments, everybody in the chat. I want to ask this question to you. So we're going to listen to what they say and then we'll get back to it. If you can't hear it, don't worry. I'll recap. All right, so they're silent right now. So not only does it go to the heinous, cruel, cold, calculated nature of the charges, but there's also the aggravating factor of known risk of causing death to many people. That's one of the aggravating factors. So another question for you. Does an AR-15 make that more likely or more aggravating than maybe a handgun? You tell me. You all would potentially be on the jury. Does the type of gun, what it looks like, how big it is? So somebody's saying, no, if it kills somebody and can harm them, then no. Other people saying, yes, absolutely, that could make a big difference. And I think if there's even one juror that it could make a difference for, then they should go look at the gun. It's absolutely admissible for them to be able to look at the gun. Now, whether it goes back or not, they can discuss that. But regardless, the state objected to them just coming out for a minute and then going home. So I think at the very least, the jury's going to be able to come out, have some time in the courtroom with the bailiffs. They'll probably have a bailiff go back while the gun is in there just so nothing bad happens and they can make sure it's safe and everything like that. They'll remove all the ammunition and sometimes they'll put a safety in it and things like that. And they usually aren't able to like pick it up and hold it and stuff like that, but they're absolutely allowed to examine the gun, take a look at it again. This is not a did he do it, right? This is we're talking about aggravating and mitigating factors, and the gun, in my opinion, could have a lot to do with that. And this is, and I asked you if you could tell by their arguments who this is better for. This is better for the state. This is an indication that they're looking at how bad this is. There's no benefit to Nikolas Cruz for them to want to look at the gun. Nikolas Cruz and his team would hope that they are just looking at his mental incapacity, basically his deficiencies, the abuse that he went through. That's what they're hoping they're looking at. They were very heavy on the medical side of this case, not on the facts. So this is a good indication for the state, and jury questions can do that. And if we look at some of the other jury questions in this case, I have them somewhere. First, let me put this back up while we're talking about the jury wanting to view the gun. Heinous, atrocious, and cruel. I think the gun could have something to do with that. Premeditated without any pretense of moral and legal justification. Not that bringing a handgun makes it any better, but I do think it can have to do with that. And these are things that are all positive for the state if they want to look at the gun. Let me see here if we have some of the other windows of the jury questions. Second jury question. We'll get to the first one whenever it pops up. The jury wants a transcript of Dr. Connor's testimony. They're saying whether or not it should be read back. This is one of the state's doctors, I believe. They want to read back his testimony because, again, the defense's closing hammered on the state's experts not being as good. They're a jack of all trades, not a master of none. The defense had the best experts in the case. Or is this the defense expert? I think this might be the defense expert. The first one was the state's expert, consistent with FASD. So they want to compare this with the first jury question, which was, let's see if I can find that one here for you. First jury question. Here we go. Dr. Denny is the state's expert, and he said that Cruz did not have FASD. So when we talk about these, they want to look at the transcripts. They want to watch the videos. They want to hear it back. They want to compare. They want to find who they find more compelling. They want to look at this transcript themselves. And to me, this doesn't necessarily indicate a positive for either side. And then I think there was one more jury question. So 4 total because we just heard the fourth one. Third question. Here we go. Jury wants a copy of the current DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Health Disorders, and current CDC guidelines. So this, to me, would be a positive for the defense. They're really digging into the medical side. They're looking into the DSM. They're going to read through it. Jurors become experts real quick. And you guys that are all sitting there as potential jurors, think about it if you were in their shoes and you heard all this medical testimony and they referenced the DSM. You'd feel like you weren't doing your homework if you weren't looking at the DSM. Now, in just less than a day of deliberation, they've already asked all of these questions and they've gotten through a lot of this testimony and a lot of the questions that they have popping up, the DSM, they want to see the gun, things like that. So they're moving right along here. But there are a lot of charges. There are a lot of aggravating factors they've got to go through. They've got to take multiple votes. It looks like they want to compare testimony. So the question everybody has is, when is the verdict going to come? And the honest truth is nobody has any idea. They could vote right now and just be done. It's a jury. They are the bosses. They make the rules here. But I would expect a verdict on Friday. If I had to guess and put my money somewhere, it'd be on Friday. It would not surprise me if it was Thursday. It would not surprise me if it was next week. But I would guess that the verdict is coming on Friday. We'll see. We will be watching the verdict and we will react to the verdict. We may even stream it live if timing works out with everything we have going on in our schedules. And I'm also planning on going to WFLA 8 with JB, talking about this verdict when it comes down. It's a local Florida channel. We are a Florida law firm. This case is in Florida. So any of those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Peter Tragos, personal injury lawyer in Tampa Bay, Florida. Our firm also does a lot of criminal defense. My dad was a federal prosecutor, a state prosecutor, criminal defense attorney. The lawyers we have here handle personal injury and criminal defense cases. We're trial lawyers. That's why we look at these trials and these different parts of cases so that we can help break it down so you understand the American judicial system from a civil side and a criminal side. Marty Ferguson is new here. If you are new here and this is one of your first videos or you just found us through Nikolas Cruz, let me know in the chat. Yes, I am live too, Brianna. Let me know in the chat if you're new here from the Cruz trial and hit that subscribe button because we are going to be following this to the end. We have already FAS is fetal alcohol syndrome. We have already done a bunch of videos on this sentencing trial and this process. So if you want to go check those out, check out that playlist. If not, then just follow us along here. We're going to keep talking about the case. We're going to talk about the verdict when it comes out. We're going to talk about what we expect the verdict to be. Let me see here. John, if you're on, block the porn bots that are coming in the live chat, please. All right, we've got a lot of new people here. Jeannie J is new. That's awesome. Brent Sanford is new. Matt is new. Oh, I skipped down in the chat. Marty came through the Brooks trial. Okay, so still relatively new. Let's see what else we got here. Liking the suit, Peter. Thank you. It's a sport coat. It's not a full burgundy suit, but that would be pretty quick. I mean, pretty slick. John, off topic. Are you a watch guy? Was that timepiece? What's that timepiece? I have a minimal Omega Seamaster. Timepieces are good investments. Off topic. Yes, I do like watches. I come by it honestly. My dad really likes watches. Pete, our other partner, loves watches. He's the biggest watch guy of the rest of us. It's a Rolex GMT 2. Let's see what else we got here. Matt, sorry. I'm going to go over Brooks tonight at 8:30. Tonight at 8:30, we're going to recap and react to the full Brooks day. I want to dedicate some time to this Parkland trial because a lot of people were asking about it. Darcy's giggling about the filter comments. Look at these wrinkles. Is it really? If it's a filter, it's not doing a very good job, right? Angie is new. Deb is new. That's awesome. New from Naples. Jackie, we love the Floridians here, just in our backyard. And we've helped a ton of people from YouTube, and people have found our law firm now through YouTube. TragosLaw.com is our firm. Injury cases, catastrophic injury, car accidents, slip and falls. We've helped people in terrible situations that found us literally only on YouTube because a lot of people don't know a lawyer. Hence the name of the show is The Lawyer You Know, because all my friends ask me a bunch of questions all the time. All right, let's see what they say.
To establish some kind of protocol for this, for the gun to go back. They can't get a hold of anyone on any of those trials that you described to ask what the procedure may be for doing that.
Okay. It's like you can do, obviously do whatever you want, but it's absolutely preposterous. The sheriff's office can't control what goes back to the jury room. What if it's a machete? Machete's more dangerous than a rifle without any bullets. You can't take a machete back, because one of the jurors also, one with another, I mean,
Well,
a nice word.
but Mr. Sachs, they're in charge of security, and if they're telling me for security reasons that they need to take some measures before they allow it, I have to stay in my lane.
That's okay, but they're, and I'm not fighting with you, maybe I'm just spouting, you do what you really have to do, but they're jumping in your lane. You control what the jury sees, not the sheriff's office.
It's like, you've got the authority, Judge.
And they use that word, I defer to them. I think that they're gonna go along with what you're saying, they just want to know the process by which it should take
I have
place.
no objection to that, I agree with you, no harm, no foul, I'm just, it's ridiculous, that's all.
I think they're.
I'm just saying it's ridiculous.
Exactly how they feel, and they feel bad that they weren't more prepared for this.
They can do this tomorrow.
With that being said, I was going to excuse the jurors about this time. Captain Tiana assures me that this will be taken care of before the jurors return in the morning so that it can be waiting for them.
All right. That's enough of that. Nothing's happening there. So let's get back to the questions here. I don't have a ton more time. So yeah, if any of you guys have actual questions on legal cases, lawyer@gmail.com is my email. Door's always open, literally. So feel free to reach out. That was the point of the channel. Radio Chaos, thanks for the super sticker here. James Carson is sort of new. Anita's new. Tina's new. And Wanda is also new. I love when some new people come. The chat is a big part of the channel. They're incredibly nice. They make this content a lot more fun. They make it a lot smarter. They ask really good questions. So feel free to be a part of that. We can respectfully disagree. We don't always see eye to eye on stuff. People tell me, you're looking at this too much like a lawyer. I love the chat as potential jurors. I tell them how they've helped me in jury trials I've done since this channel was created. So that's always fun. And look, I mean, I'm going to screw up your name. I'll just call her Dell. Even says I look smart today, which tells you most days, I guess I don't look very smart, right? And that's okay. It's okay. Nobody's alt but mine very soon. Pete's coming back. We're going to have him on some videos, and he's also going to do a Elizabeth Holmes update. Mo, I know you've asked a couple times to read this. Let's see this. You think the jury wants the gun to help convince a juror who doesn't agree with the DP for him? It could be. Absolutely could be. There's no real guaranteed reason. We can't get into the juror's mind. We can't know exactly why they want it, but I definitely think it has to do with the seriousness of the crime. I definitely think that. Rosie, thank you for another super sticker. Life's a journey is always here. That's awesome. I'm just kidding around, guys. They weren't being rude about me being smart. I'm just kidding. People are saying love this prosecutor. Awesome, sweetie sweets. We've got a bunch of cases over in Jacksonville. I love Jacksonville when I can get up there. Some good golf in Jacksonville. That's right. Good vibe, good tribe. And Becky Beck is part of the member tribe. What's up, Becky? I think they meant dressed smartly. Good. I appreciate that. All right, let's see if I had anything else in my notes before we go. Yeah, jurors can ask as many questions as possible. The longer they deliberate, the more questions they usually ask. They have to write them down and give them to the judge. The prosecutor is absolutely right in this situation. That gun should go back to the jury, and if it doesn't go back to the jury, they should be able to come out and inspect it for as long as they want to, because that's part of the process of understanding it is a piece of evidence. They can make it to where it's not dangerous. So that's all part of it. Steph Morris, thank you so much. But yeah, I think if I had to guess at how this is going to go, just me personally, I think that while the death is different, as they always say, the death penalty should be reserved for the worst of the worst. And in my opinion, I think this is a death penalty case, me personally, But as we get closer, as we do some more verdict watch videos, I do want to hear what you all think in the comments. Do you think this is a death penalty case? And some people just don't believe in the death penalty. So they're going to say no, no matter what. And I think that's important to know as well, is if you would vote no because you just would ever vote no, then I think you should go with that. Carmen saying, I'm going to try to do better and get in here more. Awesome, Carmen. We welcome it for sure. And I get to as many questions and comments as I can. I always say that I can't always get to every single one. I can't always get to every single super chat or things like that, but I do the best I can with the time that I have. And I have literally about 2 minutes left here. John, I think someone who doesn't have a background will take one look at the AR and think automatic. Guns scare people that don't understand weapon safety. While this may be true, this is up to the defense to explain the difference, and the state to explain why it is so dangerous, why it is so bad, and the defense to explain why it's not unlike other guns and it's not an automatic weapon. So I do think that it is up to the attorneys to make those arguments and convince the jurors. That's how trials work. Some people are saying I don't believe in the death penalty, but I still think the verdict will be a death penalty. Sparkling Dragon, that's going to be tonight at 8:30 p.m. I'm going to do the deep dive back into the Brooks case. A lot happened there today. So we're going to take our time, 8:30 p.m. And Azam's not going to be there, but you're going to be part of the rewatch crew, Azam. So make sure you get in the comments in the rewatch crew. Let us know what you think of what's going on in the Brooks case. Jennifer S., just watched The Dropout and now diving into the Theranos trial. Mr. Sarda's content on your channel is amazing. Please pass along my thanks. Not just that, if you haven't already, check out Pete's videos on Theranos. If you just watched, he did recaps of The Dropout, I think was the one that he did recaps of and reactions to and how realistic it was. So check out that playlist if you're interested in the Theranos stuff. Tina Odell, can you ask a potential juror based on how they feel about the death penalty? Yes. If they say I would never vote for death ever, I don't believe in the death penalty, then they can't serve as a juror. Usually, they'll be struck for cause on a death penalty sentencing trial like this. All right, we're going to go out on Azam's super sticker here. That's how we're going to end this stream. Appreciate you being here for this one, Azam. We'll miss you tonight. But everybody else, check us out. Be back here in about 3 hours. I'm not going to be here. I'll be at home not looking as smart. So if you want to look at somebody who looks smart, watch this stream. If you want to just hang out later, talk Darrell Brooks, then let me know because we're going to be there. Hit that like button on your way out and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks, everybody, for joining us on this last minute live. And we will keep an eye on the Parkland shooting trial for when that verdict comes down.